So today we are going to rock a flexibility session for the lower body. So we're really looking at the calves, the quads, the hip flexors, a little bit of hamstrings in there. Really just everything lower body. This is a low impact training session, so not to worry there, it is pregnancy safe. You will need a mat to protect your knees. Yoga blocks are going to come in handy, although a couple of cushions, that type of thing would work as well. I'm going to use my bench for one of the exercises, but again, a table, a chair, something that you can just pull your body into will work absolutely fine. So the goal with any kind of flexibility training is we are going to hold our poses for about 60 to 90 seconds each, and it is not comfy, so get comfortable with the uncomfortable. It does give the biggest bang for your buck when you hold them that long though. So the first thing we're going to do is get our lower body warmed up. You never want to stretch cold muscles, and then we will jump right into it. So we're going to start with just a couple of in and out squats. So find some space on your mat, squat down deep, drive the knees out, step it out, drive the knees out further. Bring it in, nothing too intense. Like I said, we're just warming up the lower body before we come into these stretches. Couple more. Good. And one more each way. Okay. And we're going to come into some tabletop squats. So I want you to place your hands on the floor, nice and strong. Come up into a plank, so bring your belly button to your spine. If you are pregnant, you can do this elevated off a bench, just plank off the bench, just to take a little bit of pressure off the belly. And I just want you to squat deep, bring your hips in between your knees, push it back. Notice my knees are staying very low to the ground, but they are not on it. Should feel your quads fire up. Good, keep going. Okay, one more. All right. So the first stretch we're going to begin with, you do need a chair or a table. We're going to open up the quad a little bit, but we're going to stretch out kind of the Achilles, so the back of the ankle. So what I'm looking for here, I'm going to try and angle it. I'm going to stretch my right one first, so I'm going to plant it on the ground, and then my other leg is going to come out to the side, opening up this hip a little bit. Now the goal, here we go, the goal with this stretch is to feel the back of the leg here. So you actually want to lean into it, which is why having something to kind of pull in sometimes works. You are pushing through the knuckles on your feet, so your heel stays on the floor. You're just going to hold here, and I want you to shift your foot and your weight until you feel a stretch on the back of the ankle, up that calf there. If you are respecting, depending on how far along you are, obviously this is going to have to be modified. Move outside of the belly. A little bit easier when you're not pregnant. And we're just warming up, so holding for a nice 60 seconds. Deep breath. Good. Push into those toes. Really feel the back of the ankle fire up. 10 more seconds here. Remember, part of any kind of training is to tweak what you need to until you feel it where you should. Okay, so everyone's a little bit different. Good. And come out of that, we're going to switch legs. So the left foot's going to come up, the right foot's going to go behind us, and we're just leaning forward. So if you can see my left foot, my heel is on the ground. There is weight in my toes. Okay, and that's causing a nice big stretch up the back of my calf here, back of my ankle. And you're just hanging out here for 60 seconds. Good. Okay, you're halfway there. Make sure this right foot is open. You're feeling a little bit of stretch through the hip flexor on that right leg. Deep breaths, and every time you breathe, you're just trying to push it a little bit further. Good. 10 seconds. Alright, and come out of that. So you do need one of your yoga blocks here. We're going to stretch out the calf and the hamstring, so the back of the leg. This one isn't a comfy one. foot on the yoga block. And with your knee, I want you to engage your quadriceps. So see how my leg is moving, I'm squeezing my knee. I'm not just locking out my knee, I'm actually squeezing the quad. That's going to engage it. That's going to help my hamstring release, okay? So from here, your foot is up. I just want you to hinge over. You should start to feel a stretch in the hamstring. Get as low as you comfortably can. And then to feel the stretch in your calf, I want you to shift the weight forward a little bit. So remember, the quad is engaged because we are stretching the opposite side. And we're going to hang out here, feeling a stretch along the back of the leg, leading the weight into the knuckles of the feet. Nice deep breaths. Let your body hang heavy, but make sure that this quad stays engaged. Seconds on these, so it does seem like a really long time, hence the stopwatch, so we don't cheat. Okay, so pulling your body forward, keeping the quad engaged. You should feel the back of the calf nice and toasty. This one took me a long time to really even enjoy. Good. Keep going. Last 10. Okay. And we obviously have two sides, so same thing. Put that foot up, engage the quad. One's always going to be tighter than the other. And you're going to hinge over. Should feel a stretch in the back of your leg. Now as low as you can, and notice how I'm angled back. So to get the calf a little bit more fired up, I'm just going to pull my body forward. I'm not going to lie, it's not a comfy position. You just keep holding. Breathe through it. Halfway there, so we have 45 seconds here. Keep the leg engaged. With every exhale, just try and relax a little bit more through your upper body. This part of stretching is getting past that uncomfort level. That discomfort, not uncomfort. Good, last 15 seconds here, okay? So find the stretch in your calf and your hamstring. And shake it off. Good job. Okay, so we're coming into a deep lunge here. So what I want you to do to set up for this one is you're going to come into your plank position, and I want you to bring your left foot to the front of the mat, so where your left hands are. So there's my plank, left foot to the left side of the mat. I'm going to start the clock here. And what I'm looking for here is that you squeeze this glute, so your right glute, my leg is straight, and then I'm pushing my hips down. And I want you to feel a very big stretch in the right hip flexor. And I'm pushing them towards the ground, and we're just going to hold here. Good, nice. You have, try and keep your hips squared too. Don't let one rotate out. You want to keep both hips facing forward, and the back leg fully straightened, but pushing your hips into the floor. As low as comfortable. If you have blocks to support you, that's fine. But I do want you to be feeling a stretch in that right hip. Good, 20 more seconds. Rock back and forth if that feels good for you. Sometimes for me, just getting the movement in makes me not think about the stretch as much. Set that back leg down. Okay, but don't move out of this position. So when when you set the back leg down, I'm going to take your left foot. I actually just want you to roll on the outer edge of the foot. And you're going to feel a little bit through your hip, a little bit opening through the inner thigh. And you're just going to hang out here. So still feeling that right hip flexor. Good. So nothing too intense. Just finishing off the stretch. I think in yoga this is called lizard pose, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay. And bring it up. Okay. Now I'm going to show you from this view for the next one. So this time, our right foot is coming up. Okay. And we're raising that left knee. I'm pushing back on my ankle, so I'm not leaning and pitching myself forward. I'm pushing back my right knee, so over my ankle. My left leg is straight. And I'm just dropping that hip down. Squeezing the left glute too. If we're stretching out the left hip, we want to make sure that the left glute is squeezed. So hopefully you can see, I'm going to finagle myself this way so that you can kind of see the angle there. Good, so that back knee is raised, pushing back, glute engaged, and then we're just lowering towards our mat. Squeeze the left glute, everyone. And 10 more seconds. Deep breath. Okay. So I want you to just place that left knee now down. And I want you to roll on the ankle of the right foot. Notice my hip, my left hip is still squared. And I'm just sinking down here. I should feel my outer right hip, still feeling my left hip flexor. Too intense. We get 10 seconds here. And release that. Bring it up carefully. Alright. So shake it off. Going into an elevated quad stretch. So I'm going to move my mat over to a wall. For the record, a wall, a couch, anything like that is going to work. Now this is a very intensive quad stretch. If you're not there, that's okay. You're gonna do it from the floor, okay? So what I want you to do is to take your right foot and put it up against the wall and get your right knee as close to the wall as possible. A lot of people find this challenging just right here, okay? So if that's you, you're gonna come forward and your right knee is gonna be on the ground, or you're gonna elevate it on blocks. Okay, so if you can't get all the way up the wall, try putting your right foot on blocks. All right, so bring that right knee close to the wall. Your left knee is going to come up. And you're going to hold here. Now in this position, again, my left knee is over my ankle. My hips are squared, so I'm not rotating towards my right. My right hip flexor is still facing forward, and I'm engaging my right glute. Okay, my heel is very close to the bum, so it's very challenging. Not helpful. So we're just breathing. You should feel a stretch on the front of the right leg. In the right hip flexor, it should be comfortable. You don't need to be up here and come into a crazy back arch. You can lean it forward a little bit. If you need to, you can also have blocks to help hold you up. But if this is too intense, remember, just lower the foot. Move forward, elevate the foot on blocks instead of a full wall. And breathe. We are going to be here for a while. Okay, so we've got 30 more seconds. These ones are going to be nice and challenging for us. Feel the stretch or find it in your front right quads, big thigh muscle on the front. Okay, we're almost done. Slowly and carefully release that and switch legs. So my left foot's going to go up, my knee gets close to the wall, my right is coming forward. We do have two kinds of this stretch, so be prepared. So again, I'm squaring my hips so that this left hip flexor is facing forward. and not rotated, okay? My heel's close to my bum. I'm not arching my back because that's not going to feel very good. But I'm trying to engage my glutes in order to stretch out this hip flexor. You should feel a stretch on this front thigh. Now just taking nice, deep breaths. Good. And we're going to hang out here for 90 seconds. So we're only 30 in. Make sure you're always feeling that stretch. Sometimes it's a matter of tweaking where your body is in order to keep feeling it. Good job. So we do have one more intensive one like this. Okay, less than 30 seconds now. Keep holding from glute to glute. And your shoulders are up nice and tall, so you're feeling the quad. And okay. So you're not done with the wall yet. We are going to take that one step further. Now, for this, you may need your yoga blocks side by side. Okay, on either side of you to help you out. You may not, you never know. So I want that right foot to go back up. I know what you're thinking. No way. And then I want that left foot to come out and your yoga block to stabilize you. And what I want you to do here is this time I want you to lean your bum away from that heel. Okay? So before we were very upright, we're now leaning away. I want you to think about pelvic tilt. So I want you to think of tucking your glutes under. Just a teeny bit, engaging the right glute and leaning forward. Should be a little bit more intense. It's not a comfy one. It is prep for your splits. And if you are pregnant, just keep this left leg outside of the belly. And each time you exhale, just try and push away from your heel a little bit more. Good job. Keep going. We're almost done with this. Last 10 seconds. Very carefully come out of it and switch your legs. Okay, so my left foot's going up. And my right foot's coming out. And I'm leaning away. My hips are still going to stay squared. There we go. My left glute is a little bit engaged. You don't want to arch the back too much. But we do want to feel that hip flexor. Okay, so remember, part of stretching is finding the uncomfortable spots and hanging out there. You're doing amazing. Under 30 seconds left, and I promise we're done with this one. And nice and stretch. 10 seconds. All right, so it feels really good to come out of that one. Okay, so the next one, we are going to stretch out the front of the ankles and the shins, okay? Now this one is a tricky one, so I want you to, if you can, sit on your toes. I'm going to show you from the front side here. What we're going to do is we need yoga blocks on either side, and I actually want you to raise your knees so all the weight is in the front of your feet, okay? And when you are doing this, so your toes are obviously going to be pointed, you're going to be finding us, I want you to feel a stretch right through the front of the calf. As I mentioned, this is a tricky one. It takes a little bit of finagling. Okay, so you may have to shift your weight depending on where you feel it. Okay, it is also hard to hold. It's hard on your lower abs to hold your body up like this. I know a lot of people can get forward and hold this way, but for myself personally, I need more of my feet on the ground in order to feel the stretch through the front of the shins. And we're not holding this one for long. This is really uncomfortable for you, okay? And that's absolutely fine, just skip this stretch. And we only have one more after. Nice deep breath. You're doing amazing. We only have 20 seconds left. So it should be getting challenging. Especially holding yourself up. I always found when I started that holding myself up was really difficult. And come on down. Okay. So last but not least, let me get set up here. Is we're going to come into a deep squat. So you can put those yoga blocks away. And I want you to take your feet a little bit wider than your hips and come down as far as you can, keeping your heels on the ground. So my heels stay on the ground, I come down in between. And then over there, I'm using my arms to drive my knees out. Okay, so I'm almost putting weight in my pinky toes. I'm opening up the inner thighs. Then I'm sitting up tall. I don't want to see this rounded hunchback position, in which case you should probably be about here, okay? You can, if it makes it easier, and this took me a long time, is to put yoga blocks under you to kind of get the position of where you should be feeling it. So I do want you to feel your hips opening up, and just get used to flattening the back. Okay, sometimes it helps if you hold TRX straps or a chair or a bench in front of you. Open up the thighs. So last one you gotta do. We're almost done, nice flat back. This is an amazing one for pregnancy too. For anyone who's pregnant, this is like prime time right here. And you're gonna be another 10 seconds. And then sit down, shake it out. And you should be feeling a little bit more